This rainy night. I am Marcia Marins. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Chautauqua County, and we are pleased once again to present our Meet the Candidates night. If you are like most people, when election times rolls around, you probably have a million things on your plate. After all, you voted yesterday, probably. And voting is just another item on that list. But voting is important. And you may not know much about the candidates running for office, but that's okay. That's why we're here tonight. We've gathered a list of questions to ask the candidates so you can get to know them better and make an informed decision on primary day, June 24th at Wheelock School. And the polls will open at 6 a.m. and close at 9 p.m. There will also be early voting, but it will only be at the Jackson Center in Jamestown. So a debate is one of the few events left where the candidate does not have control, which is why we think it's very important. Debates contribute to the information about candidates that voters can obtain in a different way, more than scripted campaign messages. We conduct candidates' meetings as a service to you because it gives you a means of forming a first-hand judgment of the candidates, and as a service to the candidates because it gives them an opportunity to present their views to audiences, usually of very varied political affiliation, even though this primary, you must be a registered Democrat to vote. We have not given the candidates these questions in advance, except the first one, and you can ask them about any issues that you care about, and they will respond unscripted, so you can see how they think on their feet, so to speak. Candidates are allowed 30-second rebuttal to what they feel is a false or misleading statement. In the interest of addressing as many audience questions as possible, rebuttals will be strictly timed. Only one counter rebuttal will be allowed. Candidates will not interrupt each other. The timekeeper will hold a 30-second remain sign and a sign when to stop. Candidates are expected to respect and comply with these time limits. If a candidate does not use all of his allotted time for response, the unused time cannot be applied to any other purpose or question. So when you listen to this debate, think about the issues that are important to you and how the candidates answer the questions. Are they sincere? Are they knowledgeable? Are they talking to what your priority issues are? And then afterwards, talk to your friends and neighbors about the debate. And did it sway your decision, or did you learn something new? The most important thing for you to do is to vote, and it's the best opportunity to get your voice heard and help shape the issues that affect us all. With us this evening are the Democratic candidates for the Village of Fredonia Board of Trustees, Michelle Twitchell, Leanne Lazzaroni, Christine Cruz Keefe. Candidates will have 1 minute to respond to a question they received prior to this meeting and include a brief presentation discussing their qualifications. After the opening statements, candidates will have the ability to question one another, and members of the audience will be urged to ask questions of any candidate or all of the candidates. If you want to ask a question, raise your hand, and one of the League of Women Voters members will hand you a note card. You can write your question, and please be legible, because if I can't read it, you won't hear it, okay? So make sure that I can read it. Each reply, again, will be limited to 1 minute. If a question is addressed to a specific candidate, others will be welcome to add comments or replies of their own. and there will be 1 minute for closing statements. So the first question is, what is the biggest issue facing the village of Fredonia, and what will you do to address it if you are elected? And the first responder will be Michelle Twitchell.
Thank you, Marcia. I'm Michelle Twitchell. Endorsed in the past by the Democratic Party as a trustee, I have served for the past 3.5 years. I had the pleasure to serve as Fredonia trustee 20 years ago with 2 mayors. I was successful at securing private funds to improve the police department with the new evidence room, along with securing funds to move the cable TV room to the 2nd floor at Village Hall. I was also successful at working on a grant with the Lake Erie Management Commission to improve the creek bed behind the fire department to enhance public fishing and keeping the creek from washing away village property. I believe the most pressing issue facing the village of Fredonia are the finances and the water issue. These two go hand in hand in preserving our autonomy and moving our village forward to sustain its integrity and independence. I am focused on watching the spending in our budget and constantly motivating the other trustees to focus on our valuable resource, the reservoir, by voicing my opinion at the least expensive choice when it comes to the water study. Thank you.
Our next responder will be Christine Cruz-Keefe.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. Welcome to Michelle and Leanne. Thanks to the Opera House and the audience. My name is Christine Cruz-Keefe. My husband is Nick Keefe, and we have 2 sons, Stephen and Nathan. I've been an educator at the Fredonia Central School District since 1998. Annually, I prepare a budget, and I've never exceeded my budget. I've served as an instructional leader for my department, and I'm an active member of my union, serving as building representative on our executive board and a delegate to the Representative Assembly. I understand workers' rights, responsibilities, and contracts. I am a lifelong proud Democrat and appreciate being asked to run and being nominated by the party. I'm an active listener, and I'm respectful in discussions. The biggest issue facing Fredonia is the current tax increase. The best solution is to bring back the position of the village administrator with a competent and capable individual. As the debate continues, I hope to make this point clearer with my follow-up notes. Thank you. I look forward to the debate.
Thank you very much. Leanne Lazzaroni.
My name is Leanne Lazzaroni, and I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event and the Democratic Party for endorsing me as their candidate. I moved to Fredonia 8 years ago, and I live with my husband, John, and my son, Thomas. My service as a former trustee and 2-term mayor are among my many qualifications to serve as your trustee. Additionally, I was known as the problem solver in my career as the resource coordinator in the Dunkirk City Treatment Court. I am a proven leader. I too feel that the budget is the biggest issue facing the village at this time. I would use my experience as trustee and former mayor to work together with the board and the mayor to bring back a village administrator to solve some of our current budget issues. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to open up our meeting to a question and answer format. Again, I hope their presentations have brought some questions to your minds. If you have a question from the audience, raise your hand. If you are in the viewing audience and you wish to ask a question, you can call 716-679-5227. Once again, if you're at home and you want to ask a question, 716-679-5227. Questions will be screened for duplication and appropriateness. So our next question is from the community. There are 2 proven ways to deal with a budget crisis. That is, increase taxes or reduce expenditures. Most recently, the village board has chosen to increase taxes significantly, and it appears that hasn't solely solved the problem. What 3 steps might you take to address the village of Fredonia's budget crisis? We will start with Leanne Lazzaroni.
Thank you. I think the key to resolving our budget issues is bringing back a village administrator. I know that some people are going to say that that would cost the village more money, but it's been proven that the village administrator has saved the village money. I would use data-driven evidence to create a budget, not proposed numbers. And then I would work together with the residents, the board, the mayor, and our residents and professionals in our community to help balance our budget. As mayor, I previously worked on a $5 million water project. We worked together with our board, engineers, and the residents of our community, and we saved our community $2.5 million. It's about working together to create the budget that you can afford.
Thank you. Anybody else want to address that? Christine?
Sure. At this point, I think we need to institute an austerity budget. As I've taught my own children, there are needs and there are wants, and you can only consider the wants if your needs have been addressed. We also need a transparent and concise explanation about how we got into this financial situation. Not that long ago, our village had a fund balance. Where exactly did that money go? We need to understand it so as not to repeat the same mistakes. Lastly, we need to look at, as Leanne said, reinstating the position of village administrator. In the past, a big part of that person's job was to watch the budget like a hawk and alert the board to potential overspending. Thank you.
Michelle Twitcher?
Yes. Well, right now, we do have a treasurer, Alyssa LeBeau, and she works as a village administrator, although she doesn't have the authority to speak as much as a village administrator does. But I'm always encouraging her to speak up more about how we got into this issue about being over $1 million in debt. And I feel that right now we have to take a look at hiring. We should do a freeze on hiring and take a look at other savings that we can accomplish, and also taking a look at our information that we're receiving from department heads and keeping them tight on their budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One from the audience. Residents of Middlesex and other community members are concerned about the condition of the Middlesex apartments. They were once a very nice apartment complex. Work seemed to have stopped for about a year. Could this be an issue the trustees could take up? Michelle, I'll let you
Yes.
try that one.
I know I did speak to a resident about this not that long ago, and I am going to be talking to Chuck LaBarbera, who is our building inspector, because it just seems to me that sometimes these issues are forgotten about, and to really keep on these people to keep up with their improvements, because as this person had said, it's a reflection on the village, and I really want to keep that to a point where we do have a better looking village, including some of the college property too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I respond?
Yep.
I really think it's the position of the board and the trustees and the mayor to work with the building inspector and the code enforcement officer and not allow houses, apartments to get into the condition that they're in. They should work proactively instead of reactively to situations. I think that that's an important issue for the residents who live there.
Thank you. Do you want to read?
Just say, I live on Middlesex, and I would welcome some improvement. I guess that's all I really want to say about that.
Okay, thank you. What is your opinion regarding the formation of a fire district? Ms. Lazzaroni.
I think that a fire district saves money on certain things. I don't know if the firemen would be opposed or for a fire district. I think that that would be an important issue to discuss, because in my experience, fire districts are out of whack in the way that they're proportioned by per capita of how they form their fire districts. The village of Fredonia goes almost to Cassadaga, to the village limits. Our Cassadaga Fire Department would respond first, and then Fredonia would still have to come all the way from Fredonia to get there. So the fire districts need to be reestablished to make more sense. It would cost less money in fire protection, and it would save money in equipment. So I'm not opposed to it. I think that's a real good place to start with a discussion with the fire departments.
Thank you. Do you want to respond to that?
I'm just going to add that, I've heard about the ladder trucks, and it seems that perhaps there can be some shared services between Dunkirk, Fredonia, Cassadaga, and we don't need to spend as much money on vehicles that don't get used that often.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms.
Yes, a fire district would really change a lot of things. You would appoint 5 people to be in charge of the fire district, and no longer would it be on your taxes, but they would send you a separate tax bill. But in that case, you would lose control of your fire department. And also, there are laws regarding a city and village sharing a fire service we wouldn't be able to do that. And I would like to look at other ways of saving money. And a fire district may be what we want to take a look at. But right now, I think we can take a look at it and to see where the outcome would be. Thank you.
Can I rebut?
30 seconds.
I think that if you look at a fire district and you don't have control, well, there's a fire board, and then people get elected. You elect your representative to the district board, and the amount of money that it costs to have your fire department is spread throughout the district. It actually saves money because you're not paying so much for that service. Listen, I'm not against fire protection for the village. I just think we need to find a way to be cost effective, and we have to be fiscally responsible to our residents about how we operate our business as the village.
Thank you. Okay, here it comes. Much has been discussed in the community and many studies have been completed. Based on this information, do you support fixing and retaining the reservoir in Fredonia or joining the North Chautauqua Water District? Ms. Twitchell.
Yes, I'm in favor of keeping our own reservoir and keeping our water. As it was pointed out in the last study, if we were to go with the fire district, we would be paying $28 per thousand for our water. And that doesn't include anything that we might have to do to pump the water up the hill and for expenses that are that would cause the taxpayers even more to pay for. And right now, the study that I've seen, it really is a study just pointing to North County Water District, because after all, the county was the one that paid for this water study, and I think they're pretty biased in their opinion. Thank you.
Ms. Lazzaroni.
I am not on the board at this point. I have read the study. I have read LaBella's new study. I'm looking at the old studies. I'm doing the research. I want to do what's fiscally responsible for the village, not what my personal beliefs are. I want to do what's best for the village. And at this point, I don't know. I can't make that decision until I continue to talk to people. And I have till November for this election if I get on the ballot. And I promise that I will work hard, and I will continue to talk to the experts, and I will continue to research. I want to do what's absolutely fiscally best for the village, not for my own personal belief.
I did want to respond to that.
Wait a minute. Let her respond,
Okay.
and then you can.
Fine.
Okay, thank you. When I looked at the 2023 LaBella report, which is on the village website, the cost of making the necessary improvements to the reservoir were around $14 million. And in the newest report given recently at the meeting, it was quoted at $34 million. So I have questions as to why in 2 years that price has gone up so much. But I would agree with Leanne that we need to do what's fiscally responsible for the village and what will, sorry, I got distracted by the 30 seconds. But
We'll give you another 30
I'm so
seconds.
sorry. You know, the thought of us losing the revenue from the water that comes from the reservoir does make me very nervous. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Michelle, you wanted to?
Yes,
rebut.
I did want to make a statement. The district has already completed 2 emergency supply interconnections with the village under contract. I am the only trustee to point out the fact that the emergency connections are non-functional and a breach of contract. The Chautauqua County legislator offered to pay for a portion of the new study with an appeal to New York State representatives to provide the remainder. When the state money didn't come, the county legislator agreed to pay for the entire cost of the study. And that's my point. This study is all about us joining the North County Water District, not being autonomous. Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching the clock. All right, let's just flip to another topic for just a little bit. Can you imagine having a closer working relationship between the village, town, and college? And what will you do to create that reality? Ms. Cruz-Keefe.
Yes, I am a graduate of SUNY Fredonia. I have a son who just finished his sophomore year there, and another who will likely be there in about a year and a half. The college is an integral part of our community, and I will also work very well with the town. I already have a good relationship with Mike Lee, who currently serves on the town board, and I know people on the college board as well. That can only be beneficial to all the parties involved, so I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Ms. Lazzaroni?
As mayor in the village of Cassadaga, I had the opportunity to work with shared services with the town, and we worked great together. I've already established those relationships, and I would like to continue those. I would encourage the village residents to reach out and with their concerns and sit down. I'll have a cup of coffee with anybody. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to hear you. I want you to feel like you've been heard. And I would really like to establish those relationships and bring the board back to we're here to help each other, not be adversarial. And as far as the college, I am a SUNY Fredonia graduate, proud SUNY Fredonia graduate. And in my professional career, I had the opportunity to work with the college. I took interns for over 20 years in my career. And I have worked with the Student Veterans Office. I know where to go and find the information. If I'm looking for a resource or something, I know that I can pick up the phone and call somebody and get them.
Thank you. Ms. Twitchell?
Yes, working with the college, as a past trustee here in the village, I worked to establish the Campus Community Coalition, and this was very successful as we had many problems with college students in different neighborhoods. And I would like to start that again. That would be wonderful. And right now, the town of Pomfret, we do share services with them, and we do share equipment. So it isn't anything new that we're not doing. Thank you.
Thank you all. So there are a lot of questions about the tax increase, so I'm going to ask a question and kind of put it out there for you to respond however you want to. A 64% tax increase is unheard of, not anymore. How did this drastic increase happen, and what is being done to make sure it doesn't happen again? And another question related to this is, it impacts a lot of fixed income residents, and would you support lowering the tax rate for fixed income residents? So we will begin with Ms. Cruz-Keefe.
I agree that we need to understand how we overspent the budget. I have looked at the budget, and I will be honest, I'm having a difficult time finding where the money went. So As I stated before, we need a clear and concise explanation so we don't repeat that. And I definitely don't want to raise taxes again. Thank you.
Ms. Lazzaroni.
I really, as a taxpayer in this village, I think a 68% tax increase is just way out of control. I could see an increase over a few years, but not one straight shot at 64 or 68%. I know that there are people on fixed incomes. I'm on a fixed income. I don't make any more money than I make. So I think that, I know that as a trustee, that I would be fiscally responsible for the budget. I wouldn't start working on the budget a month before the budget is due, and I'm not saying that's what the village does. I'm saying that it's a process that takes a very long time. I've done budgets over and over and over again for my job and as a former municipal in municipal government. I really looked at the budget. I've had a lot of people look at the budget with me. I don't know where basically the savings went. I don't know. Where did it go?
Thank you. Ms. Tricia.
Yes. First of all, I would like to tell everyone it was 56% increase, not 65, not 68%. And Erlissa, our treasurer, had given us appropriations that were overspent in the last 4 years. And the first one on the list is ambulance service and fire department. And that totaled almost $700,000. And that's where we really do need to tighten our belts and take a look at what we're spending. I know people are concerned about the safety of our village for fire and ambulance service, but I feel that we really have to take a closer look at that. And right now, we're looking at their contract. So that's something that we can do to change that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question. Do you foresee any opportunity for grants to the village as a way of increasing revenue? And how would you get them? And how would you get them without a grants officer or a grant writer? Ms. Lazzaroni.
Well, I don't think we can use a grant to increase our revenue. We can get grants to replace expenditures. So, there are lots of grants out there. I wrote a lot of grants in my professional career. We worked very hard for grants in my prior government municipality. I think that a grant writer is a great idea. That's one of the first questions I asked when I considered running for this position, is if we had a grant writer. I think we should take full advantage of anything that we can get. Grants for the water project, grants for the fire department, grants for the police department. I love grants for the park and for all those nice kind of things, but we need grants for our major services. And I know that they're out there. I know that you can, if you hunt hard enough, and if we had a grant writer, they would hunt hard enough for them.
Thank you. Ms. Twitchell.
I know at the beginning of the year, the mayor did want to hire a grant writer, and that was going to cost the village $25,000. But because of the cost, we declined that. And Erlissa, our treasurer, has been helping out with grants. But people have to understand, grants don't pay 100%. You have to come up with perhaps the other 50% or 40%. And right now, our village is in no shape in spending any money other than just trying to keep up with what is needed in the village. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Krusky.
So I have a question about why haven't we applied for grants during a period of the greatest infrastructure bill in our history? And I've already had a couple of people approach me and say, I am willing to help you. I have a close friend, a teacher who is on currently serves on the Casadega Village Board, who has worked on grants already. And just earlier today, I had an English teacher tell me she can help me write these grants. So I think it's worth pursuing. and I think this is something we should always pursue. Thank you.
I did want to make another statement about that. Back on July 3rd, at our village board meeting, I asked my fellow trustees to vote for a grant to look into improving our reservoir and our water.
Wait a minute. Is that about grant writing?
Grant writing,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
And two of the trustees said they're not interested in looking at any grants at this time, that all they wanted to do was just have enough money to keep the reservoir going. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Could I rebut?
30 seconds.
So we are fortunate that we live in a college town. We have access to professors, to college students, to graduate students who write grants. That's what they're going to school to do. I think we need to tap into that plethora of knowledge, and people have come forward at board meetings and said, we will help you. I think we need to take full advantage of that for all sorts of things: police radios, fire trucks, ambulances, anything that we can get our hands on. And I understand that there's a price you have to put towards it, but everything helps, especially when it's already in your budget to spend it.
Thank you. So this is kind of following that line. What is your view of combining services with neighboring financially stressed governments? We'll begin with Ms. Lazzaroni.
You know, I have a hard time when we talk about getting together with Dunkirk to do any kind of projects. Their bond rating is really low right now, and I don't even know if they can fiscally entertain coming in to share any services with us at this point in time. I am for shared services. I think shared services work wonderfully. You know, let's say Pomfret has a piece of equipment that we don't have for the highway department. We don't have to go out and buy it. We can borrow it. We have something that they need, they can borrow it. I think that that's the only way we can do business today. And I know that there are grants out there for communities to join together to share services. So I think that that's the way we need to go, especially in this economic climate.
Ms. Twitchell.
Well, Dunkirk is a sinking ship. I really don't want to join anything, any shared services with them. They're a city and we're a village, and we are limited to what we can do. And the town of Pomfret, as I said before, we already do share services with them. We share equipment and we share people, and we even, right now, we used to share our water with them, but they're on the road to stop benefiting from the village water, and I really am opposed to working with them because their ideas are not in favor of the village of Fredonia. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cruz-Keefe.
I tend to agree with Leanne. It seems that there are places, there are areas where you could share services, as I mentioned before, with a ladder truck that doesn't get used very often. You know, it would be better to share something like that. And there's motivation there. There's, you know, if you're both struggling, then you're more motivated to solve problems together and share the burden. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Could greater zoning flexibility promote development, business success, and a broader tax base? Would you consider changing zoning laws to attract businesses? We'll start with Ms. Cruz-Keefe.
Okay. So I'll be completely honest and transparent here. I only decided to run for trustee a few months ago, so I will not pretend that I already know everything I need to know. I consider myself a lifelong learner, so what I can do is make a commitment to the residents of the village to research every issue and always act in a way that I believe is in the best interest of our community. Whoever wrote this question, if you have some insight to share, I'd be happy to meet with you. So you can see me after and we can exchange some information, but I'm sorry. Thank you.
Ms. Twitchell.
Changing the zoning, that's not really that easy to do. I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to say. If they're trying to change from a residential to a commercial, that would be a big undertaking. I believe right now we do have enough commercial space, and we even have industrial space in the village. And I guess I'm not sure about what that question is about.
Ms. Lazzaroni.
Well, I'm in favor of the planning board and of them looking at that. I don't know that it's up to me to make those decisions. It's up to the planning board to bring their recommendations, and then the board makes those decisions from the recommendations of the planning board. Would I support that? It would depend on what the business was and where the zoning would have to be changed. I wouldn't oppose it. I would be open to listening to anybody's suggestions about how we can improve our village.
Okay, thank you. Did we get everybody with that? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Lost my place for a moment there. As a village trustee, how would you ensure that policies protecting the environment are enacted in response to global changes? What policy ideas and plans do you have for Fredonia? Ms. Twitchell.
Well, I know back when Jim Linden was a trustee, we did take a look at the wastewater treatment plant, and he did have a project that he wanted to put up solar panels there to have us create green energy, and it was turned down because they said that we had that there was enough power in the lines and we wouldn't be able to have any more green energy in that area. I'd like to see other ideas, but I'm at a loss right now what else we could do. And I know we did look into putting some solar panels on different buildings, and that just wasn't, it didn't work out. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lazzaroni.
So I would, I'd like to ensure that, the policies of any developer that came in to put anything in with green energy or any environmental impact, that we would adhere to it and we would enforce that with anybody who was coming into the village to do that. I think, we talk about solar panels and windmills, but, I would always want them to have some sort of account set up so that in 20 years from now, when those things are obsolete and need repair, that there's money for these companies to come back in and fix them and not just leave the village hanging for whatever repairs might need to be done. I'm all for exploring green energy and keeping our environment healthy and clean for all of us. So I would support all the policies, and I would truly make sure that they were enforced. However, I could do that as a trustee.
Thank you. Ms. Cruz.
Yes. I also would support renewable energy, green energy. I believe there are grants out there that we should be applying for and trying to research ways to keep our environment clean. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I add something?
Is that you're not rebutting, you're just adding?
Yes.
Let's let it slide for now. Okay. What is your plan to attract and retain a qualified workforce in Fredonia? Ms. Cruz.
Okay. I work with young people, and at the beginning of each school year, I have my students take a little survey, and I ask them get to know you type questions. And one of the questions I ask is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you choose? And you'd be surprised at how many of them say they'd like to stay here. We need to work on bringing new businesses and employment opportunities to our village so our young people don't need to go elsewhere to find jobs. They want to stay here, and we should be thinking about ways to make sure that they can. We need to help SUNY Fredonia increase enrollment with recruitment and retention because the university is our biggest generator of revenue. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lazzaroni?
Could you repeat the question for me, please? I just want to make sure I answer it correctly.
What is your plan to attract and retain a qualified workforce in Fredonia?
Well, I think one of the ways that we can do that is we can work with local workforce development. We have those offices right here in our county, and work with agencies that would, retain and attract people to come to our village and live here and work here. We have some great places to work. We have Wells, not in our village, but here. We have Purina. We have a viable workforce. I just think we need to continue to retain that and maybe open up some other places like, I know there's some small companies coming into Fredonia, but we need to make that attractive to the people who live here and get them to stay here. So I would work with workforce development in the county.
Thank you. Ms. Pritchard?
Yes, that is important to have a great workforce in our area. Unfortunately, Carriage House closed, and what we have right now is Agri-America, and I know they have qualified people working there, but so far as expanding any businesses to create a workforce, that's something that we can take a look at for economic growth. And I know whenever I go to NICOM, I'm always learning about new ways of creating a workforce, and I would like to apply that to anything that would come up in that regards.
Thank you very much. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in Fredonia? Ms. Lazzaroni?
Well, I think that's what we're supposed to do. I think I am your voice, right? It's not my decision, it's your decision, it's your voice. So I would really listen to you, and I would bring those to the board. And as I said earlier, it's not what I think or how I feel, it's how you feel as a resident of this village. I am your representative. Whether I like what you have to say or not, I still have to bring it to the board. I still have an obligation to voice your concern or support you while you voice that. I think that you have a right as a village resident to come to the village board and ask them to help you with whatever it is that you need help with. I think that's so important to foster relationship with the residents that's non-confrontational and not defensive and welcoming, because this is a place you're supposed to come to when you need help with something as a resident of this village. So I would welcome you with open arms. I would sit down and have a cup of coffee with you, and I'm done.
Thank you. You aren't done yet. You're just temporarily done. Ms. Twitchell?
Could you repeat the question, please?
How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in Fredonia?
Well, first of all, I wish more people would reach out to me. The only time I hear from people are usually complaints, because I would welcome hearing about new ideas and to have them reach out to me with some of their new ideas, which we could all benefit from. As a trustee, I'm a representative of all the residents in the village, and I would like to know more about what people would like to see. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would you support housing in Fredonia?
May I
I'm
respond?
sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm way ahead of you.
Okay.
I'm
So,
sorry.
One thing I wanted to bring up is I've watched the board meetings on YouTube, and I feel that sometimes when people come to speak and they're cut off at 3 minutes, it reads as disrespectful. And, you know, they've taken a lot of time to prepare comments and information, and the trustees need to give those people the time to speak because they're passionate about our village. They want what's best for our village. We need to listen to those people. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did want to rebuttal that because at NICOM, I did learn that you can keep people at 3 minutes. It's just a way of controlling the meetings. But I do agree with you, especially when I see somebody who has more ideas to speak longer. I would like to see that. And right now, it all depends on the mayor. The mayor is the one that's in charge of the meeting, so it's up to him to allow that person to speak more than 3 minutes. And I would like to see that also. Thank you.
Can I rebut?
30 seconds.
I have watched the village board meetings, and I'm not placing blame on anyone there, and I'm not trying to disparage anybody. I'm just trying to express what I see. And I see people that come to the village board meetings, and I feel like they're disrespected. They're not heard. And it goes both ways. People who come to the village board are not always respectful. But we need to create an atmosphere that brings us together, not separate. We can all have our own ideas about what is right or what we think is right, but we have to work together to solve the problem. And we can't solve it if we're always disrespectful and disregarding others' opinions.
Thank you. Do you have a plan to reduce village operational expenses in order to deal with the tax increase we are now faced with and keep it from rolling over into next year's budget? Please be specific. Michelle Twitchell?
Yes, I would like to speak to that. I know in the past there have been department heads that have wanted to spend money, and when they were told no by the treasurer that they would be spending out of line, out of the budget, they would go to their favorite trustee, and that trustee would say, yes, they can spend the money. So I would like to see a tightening of that and not always allowing the department heads to be able to control a trustee into what they want to purchase or do. Thank you.
Ms. Cruz?
As I stated before, I think the village really needs a village administrator. This person's main jobs are managing the budget. They negotiate contracts, they oversee employees, they research and apply for grants. Successful villages such as Hamburg, East Aurora, Williamsville, they have that in common. They have a village administrator. A village also needs consistency from one elected board to the next, and a village administrator can provide that. Thank you.
Ms. Lazzaroni?
Well, I concur that a village administrator would help resolve some of the issues with the budget. I don't think that you can, it's not up to one trustee to approve an expenditure on a budget. You need the board's approval to do that. I think that we're in trouble, and I'm just going to say it, we're in trouble with our budget because nobody said no.
Right.
I don't blame the fire department. They asked for it. The board gave it to them. Now we're in debt. Like we already are almost $1 million in debt for next year. We need to, personnel is our biggest expenditure, and I'm not saying I want to cut employees. I'm saying we need to look at that line. And I don't know about you, but I've looked at the budget, and I'm used to budgets, and it's hard to read this budget. But I would be more transparent with the budget and where we've spent the money and what we're spending it on. And we need to find a way to cut back. We need austerity budget. We need our only essential services. I love Fredonia and I love everything that we do here, but we don't have we don't have money to do that anymore.
Thank you. Ms. Twitchell?
Yes. And I have voted in the past, most recently, when they wanted to hire 2 more firemen specifically, and I was the lone vote to vote no. I can see the expense that this is creating, but I know that there is an agreement with our contract, so this is something that we have to take a look at and to renegotiate, because right now, we are just spending way over our budget in relationship to the fire department. Thank you.
Thank you. Here's a simple one. How do you feel about the trustees' meetings being 9 in the morning as opposed to an evening meeting? Ms. Cruz.
I still work full-time. I am not a retired individual. That would be a problem for me. And as I understand it, if there's someone who cannot attend for that reason, that they would not be able to hold it at 9 in the morning. I also was suspicious that it was intended to reduce the amount of attendees at the meeting. So I would not support that. Thank you.
Ms. Lazzaroni?
I think the workshop meeting should be available at a time when we get the most attendance and the most input. I don't think 9 in the morning is the answer. It won't work for me because my daughter won't be able to go to work if I do that. So I think that a workshop should be held one week, the board meeting the next week. It gives you time to work through the things that you've discussed at a workshop. It gives you a week to come up with answers that you need for the board meeting from that workshop. So I don't support a 9 a.m. meeting. I support an evening meeting, and then a week later have the board meeting. I just think you need the time. You need to research. You shouldn't vote on things without having all the information.
Thank you. Ms. Twitchell?
I agree. 9 a.m. in the morning, few people are able to attend, and we're lucky right now. We do have somebody who films the workshops, but it will no longer be transparent to anyone. And actually, the last time we had meetings in the morning, a workshop in the morning, and a meeting the following week, we would have more walk-ons than ever, and that I don't agree with. I can see your point about reviewing information, but that is done at the workshop. And we could always table issues to look into them more. But I believe that the workshop and the meeting should be held at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What programs do you believe need to be implemented or more fully supported in Fredonia? Ms. Twitchell.
Repeat that again, please.
What programs do you believe need to be implemented or more fully supported in Fredonia?
I'm trying to think of what programs would need to be implemented.
That's okay. We don't have to have answers for everything.
I just can't think of what they mean by that. Maybe to have people from the community, to have a group of people to take a look at different sections of the village and how we can improve things. I know we've had people come to the village that are willing to help us with our budget, and I feel people with the experience that have been there before, they know truly how to take a look at the budget, and I would welcome something like that. Thank you.
Programs. Ms. Cruz.
I agree with Michelle that I'm not sure exactly what this question is getting at. However, the supporting our festivals, these are the things that bring people, bring tourists. So I think more of that would be good for the village. Supporting the arts here, okay? So for example, Main Street Studios, just making sure that we are marketing that properly and trying to attract people to our village for the great things that we can offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to see more campus and community programs with the village. You know, my daughter went to Alfred, and they have a hot dog day where all of the students come to the park and they supply hot dogs, and it's a huge thing. They have a great time. You meet the students one-on-one. The community members come out and meet the students who are actually here. I think that we need to do that. We need to encourage our students to come and be part of our village, not just be something in our village. So I would support the campus and community and improve upon that. I think that, we give a lot of credit to our arts and to, I'm trying to think, I'm sorry. The art trail, that's promoted very well. I think we should continue to support that. I think that we should find other programs to bring into our village.
Yep. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
What is the best aspect of living in Fredonia? Michelle Twitchell?
Well, the best aspect is we have a wonderful opera house where we see our movies, we see presentations, we see all different types of music here also. And the other thing I'm really proud of is the library museum. I was appointed to the board 6 years ago when they did not have a museum. It was closed. And I'm proud to say that I was there when the museum reopened. We hired a curator, and also I was present when we hired our new executive director, who I feel has done wonderful things in the village. We have art exhibits there now, and also I love Festivals Fredonia and the farmers market. I can't say enough about the farmers market. There are people that live at One Temple Square that come down to get their food, and they're able to get double what their coupons are worth. Thank you.
Ms. Cruz?
So as an educator, I'm going to say our school and our youth. I've worked at Fredonia since 1998. I chose to make my career there. I chose to make Fredonia my home. It's my heart. And our young people are, of course, our future. Thank you.
Ms. Lazzaroni?
Well, I was going to use this in my closing, but it's a perfect opportunity to use it now. My husband and I, we live on Lowell Place. We pulled out of our driveway onto Central Avenue after we moved here. And I said, "Do you see it?
Look into the mic.
Do you see it? Do you hear it?" And he's like, "What?" And I said, "Fredonia has a heartbeat. It's palpable." Especially at the end of August, the beginning of the fall, when all the college kids are here and people are walking their dogs and running and the college is alive, and you go downtown and there's people in the park and there's people drinking coffee at the Upper Crust, and you can go to Dumas Fair and people are there and people are friendly. We're a good community. I chose to move here. I chose to be part of this community because I truly love Fredonia. And I think this is one of the best communities in Chautauqua County to live in.
Thank you. What are you doing as a trustee to assist SUNY Fredonia in welcoming new students to the village that are from different backgrounds and cultures? Do you have any programs available? Ms. Lazzaroni?
Well, I'm not a trustee yet.
Yeah. But you live here.
But I live here. I think that we could always encourage those programs. We can always make them more available to the community and to the college students. I'm not aware of them at this time, but I would certainly support that. I'm very supportive of anything that involves the community and the campus.
Thank you. Ms. Cruz?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What are you doing as a trustee, or what will you do as a trustee? I guess we could put it like that. To assist SUNY Fredonia in welcoming new students to our village that are from different backgrounds and cultures? Do you have any programs available or? Yeah.
Well, as a former student from SUNY Fredonia, and I am from the area, I always found Fredonia to be a welcoming community. Things like the Italian festival that we have coming up, and I know that the students aren't here, but having the festivals like that throughout the year and making sure that they're advertised on the campus, reaching out to groups like Latinos Unidos or the Black Student Union to see if they'd like to be a part of it. Those are things that I would love to do. Thank you.
Yes, as I said before, I was involved with the Campus Community Coalition, and I would like to see that start again. And I know for a fact there are students that are involved in many areas in the village. We have students that work at the library, and there are volunteers that work at both the library and the museum. And I see a lot of students also down at the Farm Festival, encouraging them maybe to join Festivals Fredonia to help us with our many celebrations that we have. Thank you.
One last question before our closing. How would you describe your leadership style? Ms. Lazzaroni. I was going to say one word, even though it wasn't in the question. And that may be easier, but I'll let you speak to it.
My leadership style, I think that when you lead, people will follow if you lead in a great way. I would never ask somebody to do something that I'm not willing to do, and I'm willing to put myself out there. And I know not everybody wants to do that, but my leadership style is to listen, gather information, and then move forward. I always think that it's not good to move backwards, to take a step backwards. And I've been a leader most of my adult life. I have always done community service, and I have, led the charge on many things in my community, and that's one of the reasons I'm running here today. So my leadership style is basically delegate, let people do what they're good at, and then be very organized.
Thank you. Ms. Twitchell.
Yes, my leadership style has been answering to the residents in the village of Fredonia. A lot of people feel comfortable calling me because I seem to be the friendly face on the Board of Trustees, and I'm always looking forward to helping people with their issues and their problems. That's a reason why I ran as trustee, and also just to make this place a better place to live, and encompassing everything that is offered here for our village residents to be part of. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Krusky.
So I always listen first, try to understand what people are telling me before I give my opinion or ideas. I'm organized. I've proven that as an educator. I'm a good communicator. I always treat people with respect. I enjoy problem solving. I'm honest and I have integrity. And I'm dedicated to doing my best in any situation or in any challenge. Thank you.
So now we will allow 1 minute for a closing statement, and it will be in the same order as we opened. So, Ms. Twitchell, a concluding statement from you.
Thank you. In closing, it's obvious that the current Board of Trustees majority is incapable of managing spending of the village departments. It appears to me that the board is choosing a fiscal path towards bankruptcy. I look forward to working with either Christine or Leanne to bring two voices against the irresponsible spending which mirrors our neighboring city of Dunkirk. When I hear working together, I see the current board. When I say Fredonia first, I'm speaking for the taxpayers and ratepayers of this wonderful village. Thank you.
Ms. Krusky.
Thanks again to the League of Women Voters, Michelle, Leanne, the Opera House, the audience, and all of you who presented questions. Clearly, the village has many issues to resolve. We obviously need to get our finances under control and make the right decision for the future of our water supply. As I stated in my introduction, I am a respectful, active listener, and with your votes, I can bring those qualities to the Village of Fredonia as a trustee. I'm open and anxious to meet with any and all of you to discuss my qualifications and the issues facing Fredonia. We are a good community. We have so many people willing to share our success. Let's make success the most important part of our future. I'm dependable, hardworking, and cooperative. You can ask anyone I've worked with. I'm not the type of person who is content to simply complain. If I'm unhappy about a situation, I act. I offer constructive ideas and potential solutions. Perhaps the board needs someone with a fresh perspective. Please vote for me on June 24th. If you give me a chance to prove myself, I won't let you down. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lazzaroni.
I am running because I have dedicated most of my adult life to service of my community, and Fredonia is my community now. I retired 2 years ago, and when I was approached by the Democratic Committee to run, my husband said to me, "You've been looking for an opportunity. It's staring you right in the face. Why do you have any doubts?" I won't let Fredonia down. I will work my tail off for this village. As I said before, Fredonia has a heartbeat, and I love Fredonia. I have the qualifications to be a trustee. I was a trustee and a former two-term mayor. I was a leader in my career. I can prove to you that I am worthy of your vote on June 24th. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you all for being here. You did a great job. I want to thank Pat Carell, who is voter service, part of the voter service team of the League of Women Voters, Mary and Jack Croxton for timekeeping, a terrible job. Chip Rewald, Fredonia Local Access Coordinator, and Rick Davis and his team for the use of this facility. It's lovely. Remember to vote. I will be there to welcome you at 6 a.m. on June 24th at Wheelock School, and I hope it's not 90 degrees. And we open at 6, close at 9. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.